So I'm going to talk about the order of the elements. Before I talk about the order of the elements, we need to get some definitions. And so we have here some trees, elm, oak, beech, sycamore. They're all trees. They're not in any order. They're names of things, just like you might have names of anything. So that's one aspect. The next thing we have there is what is the order? It's a sequence. Now, I've given you an example of a sequence here, triangle, square, pentagon, hexagon. It's a sequence which can go on and on and on. The elements don't do that. They come back and start again from the beginning. I'm just giving you, you know all this anyway, but I just want to make it quite clear that when we talk about the order of the elements, we are talking about a circle which goes round and round. So how many possibilities of 5 things are there? Well, theoretically, there's 120 possibilities. But if we always start with one particular element, because it's going round in a circle, it doesn't matter which one we start with, that reduces it down to 24 possibilities. And if we take our normal sequence that we're all familiar with, this is the one that everybody knows, isn't it? It's wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. We might, in fact, jump from wood and say, oh, this is the destruction element, the destruction sequence. But it's the same sequence. And or we could start with the water and go backwards. So or we could, in fact, take this order that we had before and go back that way. So there are 4 permutations possible from that sequence there. So this is our familiar sequence, and this one over here is the destructive sequence. If you go back this way, this is the 3rd sequence, and there's another one. Right, what was the very first mention of the elements according to history? Right, those are the 4 different examples there. And this was in from the Zhou dynasty. And there are not 5 elements mentioned, but there seems to be 6. Their names. There's nothing to do about an order. There's nothing to do about it being an order, although you would probably recognize them as one of those 4 specific orders. But it doesn't say anything about they go on to other things. The other problem, of course, about this historical version is this is the oldest one theoretically in the classics. It may have been written later and added. We don't know this. Let's go on to something more tangible. And this was something called the Annals of Mr. Liu, in which he said, oh, this is the one particular dynasty, their element was such and such a thing, went on into another dynasty, their element was such and such a thing. Now, there is evidence of one element giving rise to another, but it's not what we would normally expect, is it? So we have the earth element giving rise to the wood element. Now, this is, again, this is ancient history, but it is an example that the elements gave rise to another one. Let's have another look at an example. Here we have a musical example. And this was something which attracted me because I was originally a musician, I suppose I still am, in which the divination was done by musical sounds. And it's this order which is so fascinating. Earth, metal, wood, fire, and water, which doesn't belong to any of our known sequences. So what is this order? And the thing about it is, you see, each of these elements is associated with a musical note. And in the musical notes, in Chinese, and they represent the vowel sounds. As you say these 5 words, the vowel sounds go up in pitch, and they represent the notes of the pentatonic scale. But it's not the order that we know today. But what is interesting is that if you have the musical scale, do, re, mi, sol, la, do, re, mi, sol, la, which is the basic of so many folk songs and tunes throughout the world. That's pentatonic scale, using only these notes. But the order, of course, is quite different. It's a continuing order because you can take the scale higher and you can take it lower. So was this the original order of the 5 elements? But this doesn't show you how one element produces another. This is now something even more mysterious. How do you, anyone here play the violin or the guitar or you must have some, yeah. Because when you tune your strings, you take it from the previous string and you go so far up the string. And so one string produces a note which you can hear on the next one. If you double the string, or you take half the string, you get the octave lower or higher. If you go 1/3 of the way along, you jump from do to sol. And it is like going backwards or forwards that we get a different sequence now. So do, re, mi, sol, la, and you can repeat those as octaves. To get those notes, you have to get the pipes, tuning pipes. And there's a very strange thing. The thing about this do, mi, sol, la, you're missing a note out of the middle, but it's not accidental, it's a natural fact that that note is missing. And the ancient Chinese books on music say that to get the right sound, you'd have to have a pipe of 81 fen. Well, let's go, it doesn't matter how long the fen is, 81 centimeters. And the next pipe would be 51. That number is something that you can divide by 3 and multiply by 2. Divide 81 by 3, multiply by 2, you get 54. And so we get these numbers. It's the only set of numbers that you can do this to. Because you can't divide 16 by 3. It stops there. So we just got these 5 notes, which are produced mathematically. When we double or, sorry, gone back the wrong way. Where do we get that? Yeah, when we have these notes here, you'll see something very strange. We've made the notes in the musical scale. Each one is producing the next one. And we see that the longest pipe is 9 nines, the next pipe is 8 nines in length, the next one 7 nines in length, and the next one 6 nines in length, the next one 5 nines. So there's something very basic about the musical notes of the scale. And that, you see, would have been the original mechanics of the elements producing each other. Now, having told you all this, and you're sitting there, I can see all your eyes trying to take this in, well, this is interesting, how can I use it? And of course, we don't use that system today. So what was the thing that changed? There must have been something else, another discovery. Say, no, let's not have that sequence. That's the musical, that's the original one. The original sequence based on the notes of the musical scale. And then all of a sudden, we have the sequence that we all know today. Why? What is it? Well, it's the wrong one. There's a summary so far. Right. The planets. The names of the 5 elements, the names of the 5 planets. So we have over here, Jupiter is the wood planet. Then we have Mars, the fire planet, Saturn, the earth planet, Venus, the metal planet, Mercury, the water planet. The colours of the planets, there they are. Jupiter is sort of bluish coloured. The chin is a bluish green. Mars, of course, everybody knows it to be red. It's actually sort of orange yellow. Saturn is a yellow planet. Venus was called the Great White, the white. And Mercury, it's very difficult to see Mercury until it crosses the Sun. When it crosses the Sun, it appears black. And then there are 5 colours related to the elements. Well, that doesn't give us any order. That's not the, that's the order as they are, but it's not the order of the planets. Or is it? Let's have a look at the distances of the planets from the Sun. Saturn is the furthest of our well-known planets. Jupiter next. Then there's a big gap, the asteroid gap. Then it's Mars. Then we have the Earth, Venus, and what is missing at the bottom of this is, of course, Mercury. I think it's the map that's done this. Mercury comes next, which is the closest to the Sun. So we have, we've got them all there. There we are. Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, the Earth, Venus, and Mercury. Now, Saturn is called the Earth planet. If we put the Earth, what's going on now? If the Earth is the Earth planet, we now have the order of the elements as they are used today. Saturn, called the Earth planet, is right out in the sticks. The Grand Duke Jupiter, that measures the years, 12 years of Jupiter's cycle. 12 years of our cycle is 1 year of the Jupiter cycle. And this is all the Grand Duke Jupiter living too close there. That's the ruler. Saturn seems to just follow the name. And my belief is that the earlier Chinese astronomers discovered this factor not through knowing how far the planets were away from the Sun, but by the speeds of the planets. And I think that the early astronomers then said, right, we'll use this as our basic order for the elements. The original order being the notes of the musical scale, and the practical order that we use today being the order of the planets from the Sun. Thank you very much. I hope that was interesting.